There is a patchwork of old oil fields in Oklahoma that date back to the 1920s, each at some point producing a huge influx of people looking to get rich from black gold. Those ancient oil fields are seeing a resurgence of drilling activity thanks to new technology and money that flows freely from Wall Street investors. But that resurgence is costing longtime Oklahoma oil companies their wells and damaging the environment. This is part 2 of our special series, Oklahoma's Oil Wars.
In the mid-1920s, Seminole, Oklahoma's population began to triple almost overnight. By 1935, the Seminole County oil fields were the largest oil-producing region in the world. What was left behind when the easy oil stopped flowing were thousands of old oil wells that were left improperly plugged. Darlene Wallace is president and CEO of Columbus Oil in Seminole. She's found a few of those old wells on her leases.
2 cedar trees shoved down the hole and a couple of bags of cement and it was done. That's how they were plugged. I had another one that was tin cans and metal thrown down the hole with a couple of bags of cement and then filled with mud the rest of the way up.
Just finding the old wells is nearly impossible.
And it says it's in this section in the middle of this acreage, but good luck finding them.
But recently, a number of those long-abandoned wells have been easier to locate. That's because of horizontal hydraulic fracturing. As the pressures underground build from the fracking, suddenly those old wells are spewing liquid again. But it's not the kind you want.
With the high pressure that they frack with, they're finding these mud hole wells. It's going up them and it's purging. And what we call purging is it's coming up the hole and pushing all that out.
Some are like fountains, others seep, and still others spray salt water, fracking fluids and crude oil in every direction.
We've had cases reported to us that fit that scenario.
Tim Baker is director of the Oil and Gas Division of the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. He says they've shut fracking operations down and in some cases made the oil companies clean up the mess they caused.
If we believe that it's frack related, we will talk to the operator who's conducting the frack job. At the very least, we can have the frack job shut down.
But many times the cleanup is charged to the owner of the old vertical well.
Whoever is the operator of that lease, they are responsible for their lease, even if they did not create the problem.
And because of that, some of the purging wells are not being reported to the Corporation Commission.
They shouldn't be concerned about bringing that to the Commission. I can assure you the Commission will act diligently with the information that is provided to us, but we can't act if we don't have the information.
Commissioner Todd Hyatt actually visited one site in Seminole County where vertical wells were purging because of fracking operations.
It was a mess at the time that I was there. Unfortunately, the company has taken the appropriate action to clean that up.
That company, Silver Creek Oil and Gas out of Texas, has been very active in the Seminole County region. Another site where one of their frack jobs caused 2 old wells to purge troubled the Commission's field investigator because the old wells had no casing to protect groundwater. He urged the Commission to hold Silver Creek in contempt because nearly a year after the purging, the company still had not drilled a monitor well to determine if groundwater was being polluted. The O&R investigation has found several instances where surface water was impacted by the old wells purging because of fracking operations, and one case where a rural family's water well was also impacted.
And then upon fracking, hydraulics will direct those fracking fluids to possibly all formations to surface, including fresh water.
Mike Majors has been in the oil business in Oklahoma for nearly 40 years. He has seen old wells purge from the pressures underground because of fracking, and he has seen a water well do the same thing.
I've seen a freshwater well purge to surface after a horizontal was fracked adjacent to that property. It purged for 72 hours.
It happened on October 5th of 2013 at the home of James Gammons. Majors documented the event in a protest he filed a year later to try and block another horizontal well from being allowed to drill. Included in that protest was a map of the fracked well that caused Gammon's water well to purge, and an affidavit from Gammon that says his 220-foot deep water well was purging fresh water to the surface, and water was running into the pasture. What concerns Majors is what was left behind in the groundwater that supplied that well.
It impacted that aquifer. I'm highly convinced that it did.
That same concern is on the mind of Mike Cantrell, co-founder of the Oklahoma Energy Producers Alliance.
I've been concerned from the very beginning about the environmental impact of putting a horizontal field under vertical regulation. I think when you drill a mile or two through a formation, you need to be a little bit more thoughtful about how you regulate that activity, especially when we're working in old fields like we have in Oklahoma.
So far, however, there is no testing being done in these old oil fields to determine if groundwater is being impacted on a larger scale.
I think it has happened on at least a limited basis, and just the fact that it could happen is enough for Oklahomans to be very concerned about what happens in this horizontal universe when you put it through vertical production.
The Vamosa Aquifer runs right under Seminole and Hughes counties, a water supply to thousands of Oklahomans. Cantrell says he talked with the Corporation Commission official after learning of the purging wells in Seminole County, asking whether fracking operations were impacting groundwater.
Here's the $24,000 question. Has horizontal fracking found its way into groundwater? Yes, was the answer.
Corporation Commissioner Todd Hyatt says there was no way the commission could have seen any of this coming.
Apparently at the time, the geology expertise that we had here at the commission determined that those wells were far enough away from the horizontal well. And of course, it's a minimum by rule of 600 feet.
However, the problem is here now, and the potential for more vertical wells to be filled with frack sand and water, leaving them worthless, or for wells to purge frack water to the surface or into groundwater, is actually increasing. Mitch Little is Executive Vice President of Operations for Marathon Oil. His company already had plans for massive development of oil and gas in the STACK play before a bill came up in the legislature to allow horizontal wells to extend their lateral lines even further.
Expect to average 10 rigs over the course of the year, with a focus on STACK leasehold retention, delineation, and infill pilots as we prepare for moving to full field development in 2018.
That bill is now in a conference committee. 2 major oil and gas organizations are pushing for its passage. There is no bill pending to determine if there is any environmental impact on Oklahoma groundwater from the purging that is now occurring in numerous counties across the state.